Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to start by thanking the Master and Mr. Matthew Mellor for inviting me to the dinner this evening and for making me president of the Pembroke College Cambridge Society. It is a genuine, huge honour. Thank you very much. And it also happens to be the case that I am an actor. And there may be some of you who recognise me as one of the fathers from the Inbetweeners. Neil's dad, the Thunder. Or potentially the Right Honourable, the Lord Nicholson of Arnage, CBE, to give him his full title, from the thick of it. But, as it happens, I didn't start off as an actor. I actually started out as a barrister, and that's very much where Pembroke fits in. Because one of the first people I met when I arrived at Pembroke back in 1996 was a brilliant emeritus fellow who taught an entire generation of extremely eminent lawyers and very senior judges, including one of the Lord Chief Justices, Lord Peter Taylor. And his name should be very familiar to quite a few of you in the room tonight. Mr. James Campbell. And he is particularly relevant this evening for two reasons. Firstly, because Nick McBride, who is replying to the toast tonight, is the James Campbell Fellow in Law. And secondly, because in my first term at Pembroke, he hosted a sherry and mince pie party in his rooms for aspiring new lawyers, and I was one of them. Now, although James Campbell kick-started my interest in law and my desire to be a barrister, it was a pathway that lasted only a very short time, because having practiced as a barrister for just 1 year at the Middle Temple in London, I knew that my heart wasn't in it, and I had an unflinching desire to work as an actor. But, and this is why he is so relevant, he did teach me an incredibly important lesson, and it was this. In law, never make reply to a case you don't know exists yet. Basically, don't say a word about your case until your opponent has put all their cards on the table. And it was advice that has stayed with me to this day, and it is the only reason I'm standing in front of you tonight. And here's why. So, my first proper job in acting was an advert for Utterly Butterly. It was a short, 30-second improvised comedy set in an office canteen, but it was cast by the casting director of The Thick of It. And she invited me to meet Armando Iannucci, the director. And because I was comfortable with improvisation, he offered me a part, Julius Nicholson, the blue skies thinker from Downing Street. Now, most TV is planned meticulously, with huge precision, but not The Thick of It. The process on The Thick of It is very, very free. It's loose, it's unplanned, and it thrives on spontaneity. There is a script, but it changes all the time. So, about a month before filming, we do a full read-through. After that, we then rehearse each scene without the lines. We're told what our purpose is. We know what the scene is generally about, but we improvise our own version. The writers then harvest some of those lines and put them into a new script. On the day of filming, we shoot that new script, but again, we're always adding new lines as we see fit. And when we finished, we do a completely loose version, which we make up entirely as we go along. It's spontaneous and unpredictable. In fact, the director, Armando Iannucci, will often brief actors against each other. So he'll say to one of us, when you go into the room, and just before you get started on that bit about cricket, chuck this coffee over Peter Capaldi. The camera team will know, and they'll be ready to catch his reaction, but he won't. So it keeps it looking very realistic and very natural. So, with the thick of it, the script is just a guide. You can make it up on the day. You don't need to learn anything in the true sense of the word. Then I get a call from my agent. Alex, darling, exciting news. You've just got a part in a Hollywood movie. It's all very hush-hush. You mustn't talk about it in public. But it's Disney. It's got £150 million in the budget, and it's directed by Sir Kenneth Branagh. Now, with big Hollywood films, they're very sensitive about the scripts. So every page is watermarked with your name across it, and when they email it to you, it comes with a program that wipes it from your hard drive after 24 hours. So security is very tight. So the script arrived. I opened it, and it was Disney's live-action Cinderella, starring Lily James and Richard Madden. And the part they'd offered me was the Royal Crier. Now, the Royal Crier organises the ball. It's a small part, but a crucial part. It keeps the plot going. So, on the day of filming, 5:30 in the morning, my car arrives. There's a man at the front door in a suit, peaked cap, umbrella to keep the rain off. He walks me over to this huge silver Mercedes-Benz, beautiful cream interior, coffee sitting in the armrest, and off we glide to Pinewood. And when I arrived, got to my trailer, and there was the call sheet and the script. I looked to see who's in today. Sir Derek Jacobi, in. Helena Bonham Carter, in. Kate Blanchett, in. All the stars are in. I look at the visitors to set. Disney executives have flown in from Los Angeles, including the Vice President of Disney Worldwide. I look at the extras. 400 extras have been picked up at Charing Cross Station at 4 o'clock in the morning and bussed in on 10 coaches. Each one has to spend 4 hours in costume and makeup to get the ball gown right and every hairpiece right, because the costume designer has Oscars. It has to be done well. There are 6 Venetian candles lit in chandeliers, built at Venice at a cost of £100,000 each, flown over especially for this scene. Today is big. So I look at the script. I have read it, but a while ago, 3 months ago, and I haven't looked at it since. But I'm off the thick of it. I'm loose. I see what happens. I make it up on the day. It'll be fine. So I look at the script, and luckily, no one's got lines. Except one person. And that person has got all the lines. And that person is me. So I need to learn them, and quick. But there's a problem. These aren't any old lines. These are the names of every guest presented at the ball. And they're exotic and eccentric. His Most Serene Highness, the Grand Arlifali of Pooh Bah, and his wife, the High Princess of Chesil-Bastillane in the Kingdom of Schleswig. The Lord High Commander of the Most Holy Order of the Silk Pyjama, the Imperial Duchess Fujian. They are impossible to comprehend, let alone commit to memory. And there's 20 of them. I become desperate. And that's, of course, when the voices kick in. The Vice President of Disney is here. There's 1,000 cast and crew. They've spent £500,000 on the chandeliers alone. Then there's a knock at the door. is the second assistant director. Can we travel you to set, please? We're now ready. I think, right, this is the end. This is the moment I'm found out. I'll just confess, be honest, and accept the fact that I will never work again. White with fear, I stepped onto the 007 stage at Pinewood. It's the size of a football pitch. And the first assistant director runs over. And he looks worried. There is real concern in his voice. Sir Kenneth would like to see you in his office. And it hits me like a bullet. He knows. He knows I don't know my lines. I don't know how he knows, but he knows. I'm led across to a black tent on set where Sir Kenneth lies in wait. I enter. He looks at me. Alex? Yes? I've got something to tell you. I'm very disappointed. I think, right, stop, confess, apologize, hand back the fee, you've been caught, give up. But then I remember the James Campbell advice. Never make reply to a case you don't know exists yet. Keep your mouth shut. He looks at me sternly. He's clearly extremely angry. He says, I'm very sorry to do this to you. Disney have got cold feet. They reviewed your lines last night and thought all these exotic, ridiculous and silly names could offend international audiences. So they've changed all your lines. But please don't worry. We're printing all the new names on cards for you, and you can hold them during the scene. And I've told Disney we are going to do a special take just for Alex using those original lines because they will have been very hard to learn. I said, oh, no, Kenny, darling, no. You're under a lot of pressure. It's absolutely fine. And he gave me a huge hug and said, you're an absolute lifesaver. I can't thank you enough. And onto the set I walked, Sir Kenneth's hero. So, that vital lesson from James Campbell and Pembroke is frankly the only reason I'm acting today, and certainly the only reason I'm standing in front of you tonight. So, I have no hesitation in proposing the toast to Pembroke, which I do with total gratitude. To the college!